Hi guys, I'm Lizzie. I have two poems tonight. The first one is called Apple Pie. I could never date a man who doesn't know how to make apple pie. Did your mother ever teach you how? Have you ever sat in the heavy fragrance of caramelized apples, wishing your bitter life always tasted this sweet? Tasted like care and passion, like the love you pass back and forth with your mom, like it's the first bite you shared, to make sure it was cooked just right, to make sure it could act like the therapy you needed so desperately, to make sure it had the same effect on your heart that the preacher did as he prayed communion, to make sure that nothing was left to be done, to make sure that you'd rejoice if the rapture comes, that you'd be satisfied with only this sweetness and the Holy Son. Since your mother never taught you how to make an apple pie, you might not understand. It isn't something that spontaneously generates. Apple pie is a dessert that you work for. My mom sculpted fruit and wheat into sustenance. Her hands made my nothing into substance. Her hands paint flour on my cheeks, and now it is so clear that you were starving for this. The love you forced between us couldn't be remedied, a weak substitute for the real food you craved, a childhood hole turned into your grave. I thought I could teach you how to dig yourself out of that pit. Mom, can you help me with this? Yes, okay, you always cut with forward pressure. Because you slice apples, you don't chop them. When my mom and I made apple pie, we never bought the apples. She told me to only use the brown ones, the ones that were bruised and scarred. She said they were the sweetest. She'd make the crust from memory, glancing over her shoulder to make sure I was slicing the apples, not chopping them, only the bruised apples. I think that's where your recipe went wrong. You chopped the apples, you chopped up your heart and threw it at me, but a careful mix of spices is necessary. Cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, and at Christmas, a little bit of whiskey. But your love was salt and you rubbed it in the same wounds you gave me. I think that's where you went wrong. I was already bruised, already sweet. I didn't need the heat of you lashing out at me. This is an apple pie. You have to be delicate. Did you buy this from a store? Do you prefer the store-bought crust that crumbled into a chalky dust on the car ride back instead of the sweet homemade lullaby I gave to you? Mom, is this the kind of problem I fix? How do I teach someone who has never been held to put their palms together and knead dough? How do you teach someone who has never looked at another with care in his eyes to watch for a golden crust? How does a mouth who never spoke of endless love taste the soft whispers of warm spice? Is it too late to teach them now? You know what? I should have expected this to burn. I should have used my abuse as an opportunity to learn. I should have picked out from a mile away the type of boy who doesn't get to beg me to stay. It has been a long time since I have had apple pie, and sometimes I can't quite remember the flavor. My skin forgets the warmth of a kitchen. My heart forgets the peace that comes with a kind love. So I thank God my mom taught me how to make apple pie, that I didn't have to look at a recipe to know that sweet things should just come that way, that you can't mask the sour punch of an unripe apple with sugar or passion. You can't unburn a crust. You can't pray away someone else's pain. When my love is getting beat, there is no more for me to gain by staying and crying the nights away. You don't get to make me suffer, distort the recipe my mother showed to me. You don't get to slice and chop and manipulate me into the dessert you crave. I don't have to sit another day and buy into the sour shit you made just because you never learned how to make apple pie. Thank you.